If you want something bad enough, what will you do to achieve it? When I was 20 years old, I rode my bike from Seattle to Portland. It's a ride called STP, and it's a 200-mile bike ride over the course of 2 days. I began training 4 months earlier, riding my bike every day to be able to work up to being able to endure it. I learned a lot along the way and developed friendships and pushed myself physically further than I ever had before. I crashed once and learned that speed limit signs aren't only for cars, but they're for cyclists too. On the trip, the way was well marked, and I found out it was all about how long you could sit in the seat. Your legs would go round and round as long as you wanted them to. I also learned about railroad tracks. There's a special way to go over them so they don't catch your rims and flip you into the ditch. I now know how to and how not to go over them, and I have the scars to prove it. At the end of the race, I was exhausted but exhilarated. After 4 months of training and a couple of bad crashes, I had reached my goal. I'd done something I'd never done before. I'd broken the barrier of my own belief. I trained and worked and set a goal and achieved it. I felt invincible. Reaching goals is all about trading something now for something bigger or better in the future. Trading attributes for strengths. Every 2 years, I take a group of high schoolers to Europe. In 2016, we'll be traveling to Venice, Florence, and Rome. We'll ride in gondolas, eat gelato, and stand in the sun at the Colosseum like the squinting students here. We'll walk where Julius Caesar walked and see great works of art. We'll see sunsets over vineyards and toss a coin in the Trevi fountain to ensure we return to Rome again. For 2 years, we fundraised to go. I found everyone excited about fundraising when we start out. Soon after, though, it becomes an uphill climb to reach the goal with less people participating. Some common complaints are, I want to fundraise, I just don't have the time. Or, I want to fundraise, but I'm scared to sell to people, even if they're my friends. Or, I want to fundraise, but I am embarrassed to ask people for money. There's a saying I repeat many times that says, if you think you can or can't, you're right. I've identified 3 things that, in my opinion, stand in the way of successful fundraising. They are pride, anxiety, and time. On the positive side, each of these can be overcome. We can trade pride for humility. We can trade anxiety for confidence. And we can trade time for achievement. In order to go, it will take sacrifice. What would you give to go? I want to tell you about another cyclist. This is my brother David. In 2008 and 2009, he rode his bike from Seattle to Tierra del Fuego. It was 743 days and 11,666 miles. After 4 years of preparation and 2 weeks and 2 years of riding, he reached the tip of South America. He had scrimped and saved in order to take time off to do the trip. 1 week, he bought a pizza, and that's all he ate for the week. He took advantage of meals in his office, but otherwise he sacrificed. He stopped driving his car and rode his bike to work. So what does that have to do with fundraising? Well, some of you may feel like I did when you set out to earn $3,000+, that it was nearly as impossible as I felt before riding 200 miles, or how I can't even fathom riding 11,000 miles. But I'm here to tell you that it is achievable. Sometimes you may feel like you're on the way up the mountain instead of down. This photo is one of the roads my brother took through Chile. So, beyond the obvious reasons, why fundraise? For me, the main reason is unity. When we fundraise together, everyone achieves more. If only one or two participate, the rest of the group's missing out on an opportunity to help each other. Other activities will always compete for your time, but what you will gain will be more than what you gave up. Beyond monetary reward and unity, I found that there are additional benefits. Sales experience, customer service practice, and we learned merchandising. Some students have put their experiences on their resume, and that helps them to get jobs in the future. You have the unique opportunity and privilege of learning these skills before going out into the workforce to get jobs. When my oldest daughter was about 3, she was very social, and she had learned from her dad to ask for what she wanted. So she would introduce herself to people and then ask them what she wanted. So at age 3, we were in a hotel, and it was an empty hotel lobby. There was a gift shop, and she wandered in there, and we saw that Juliet came back out with a candy bar in her hand. Immediately we said, you have to take that back, and marched her back into the store. The clerk said she asked so nicely and she was so cute they couldn't resist. So could the solution be just a matter of asking? Could it be that simple? Often I think we think of asking in terms of the French verb to ask, or demander. Something we ask for, expecting to get it. Somehow, in our society, we don't feel justified in doing that. We're afraid that they'll say no, as if that's the worst thing that could happen to us. We don't believe we'll get it, so often we don't even try. I propose we begin, because sometimes it's a yes, and it's always worth asking. It's amazing how many people you'll find who are willing to help you meet your goals. The greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward. Isn't it true that when we really work hard at something, and we come out on the other end stronger with more confidence and a new understanding of what it takes to reach the goal, that we feel amazing? After we've gone through it, we're eager to share what we've learned with others. So not only do the skills and knowledge benefit you, but others that come after you. So how do you go about implementing the skills that I've talked about? How do you gear up for success? First, you need a desire to reach your goal. Without desire, there is no purpose to what you're doing. So some of you may find that your parents have a desire for you to participate in fundraising, and you'll have to develop your desire down the road. You need to be willing to be uncomfortable is the second thing. So sometimes you're going to do things that are exhausting, sometimes boring, sometimes nobody shows up. Sometimes people will say no. That is no reflection on you. Without first being uncomfortable, you will never grow in ways that truly matter. Team spirit. Do it for the team. Help out the group. Support each other, and you'll increase unity, which is essential on the trip. Ask for what you need. If you're afraid, do it anyway. The more you practice, the easier it'll get. And the last thing is ask. Or share enthusiasm, I'm sorry. Share enthusiasm. Every team needs cheerleaders, every encouragement, and fun. Enthusiasm is contagious. Without it, we don't go as far. So ask as if you're going to get a yes. Again, I ask you, what will you do? And what will you sacrifice in order to achieve? Thank you.